Good morning, everybody in Region 10 and anybody else who is joining us from outside of our region. We welcome you to day 3 of our Tribal Environmental Leaders Summit, and we have a very full lineup this morning.
Hi, John, can you hear me?
Prior to doing our programming, I did want to do a little bit of housekeeping once more to let everybody know who just joined us that we do have a survey going on. If you locate the little circle with a lowercase I on the bottom of your programming, of your
okay, perfect.
I'm sorry, at the bottom of your
you can keep your video on.
Vision, then it will take you right to the link. And otherwise, we do have a little poll that's collecting information about where everybody's calling in from, which state. You may be from Region 10, and also in what capacity that you're calling in from. We do want to alert you to a few things on the film festival link. We have one film that's only available for about 5 more days, and that is The Eagle and the Condor. It's about an hour and a half long, so make sure you make some time to watch that. And without any further ado, I would like to welcome our first speaker of the day. It's a keynote calling in from Washington, D.C. We have our Director of the American Indian Environmental Office, otherwise known as AIEO, and he will be talking about Tribal Program Reflections of the past year, what we've seen and what we've done. Please welcome Scott Mason.
Thank you, Randy. Can everyone see and hear me okay? But good morning, and I send greetings this morning on behalf of the Office of International and Tribal Affairs Assistant Administrator Chad McIntosh, who leads our office. Our American Indian Environmental Office, as most of you know, is part of the International and Tribal Affairs. I also want to say I appreciate the RTOC, Chris Laddick, the Regional Administrator for the Pacific Northwest, Stacy Murphy, who's done a great job, Randy. There's so many of you that have played a big part in this. Will Post from my office is also joining. So it's a pleasure to join you all on the final day of the 2020 Tribal Environmental Leaders Summit. And for those of you who I've not met, my name is, as Randy said, is Scott Mason, and I am the Director of the American Indian Environmental Office. And I appreciate the invitation to speak and join you all this morning. And again, special thanks to the Region 10 Tribal Operations Committee. I know virtually everyone. I've met everyone, and in fact, I think Region 10 RTOC was one of my final stops before we went into a lockdown scenario the first part of this year. So how much I wish I could be back on the road again, and hopefully soon that day will come. I can't think of any better place that I would rather be on a late September morning than in Alaska, and I really wish it was in person, because I saw that Anchorage is currently sitting at 46 degrees, and here in the lower 48, believe me, that sounds very nice. I want to start by congratulating the RTOC and all of those who have contributed to organizing and hosting the 2020 TELS for a wonderful event. We may be adapting and operating well during the pandemic, but this does not diminish the challenges that are working from home through stay-at-home orders, office closures, or frankly, the many other ways that this pandemic has affected our work and our lives. To the council members, tribal leaders, and environmental staff, tribal youth, and then technical partners who have participated over the last 2 days, I hope you and your communities are healthy and well. Many of our tribal partners continue to have closed offices due to COVID, and I know that some of you and your staff have all felt the impacts of this personally. We have an AIEO as well. And so I wish all of you, your families, your communities, safety and good health. And frankly, I know that many of you, as of the last couple of weeks, have been or last several weeks, I should say, have been impacted by the many fires taking place throughout the West. As we move into the final months of 2020, and how many of you are ready to move out of 2020, I would like to take a few minutes to talk about EPA's tribal program and what we've been working on this past year, but also highlighting that EPA is celebrating our 50th anniversary this year. And in doing so, it's very important to note that air pollution in this country has fallen 7% since 2017. Just last year, the EPA delisted 27 Superfund sites, which is the most in a single year since 2001. And by the end of this year, we will delist another 27 sites. The EPA has helped finance more than $40 billion with a B in clean water infrastructure, supporting 7,100 high priority projects and over 27,000 jobs. Additionally, there has been a 48% increase in the number of new criminal cases on potential environmental crimes that have been opened by the US EPA. Moreover, the United States has seen a 15% reduction in energy-related carbon dioxide emissions since 2005. Honestly, the list goes on and on. Our 50th anniversary slogan is progress for a stronger future. And even in the age of COVID-19, that progress for a stronger future doesn't slow down or stop. Here in Washington, D.C., AIEO has been actively involved in discussions with the White House and the Bureau of Indian Affairs to ensure that tribes are being included in everything from economic relief to allocation of personal protective equipment to continued government-to-government consultation and coordination. We are active participants in an infrastructure task force that has coordinated the distribution of resources to Indian country. For example, my staff worked with the Office of Water to identify native water and wastewater workers who needed PPE, and we will continue our efforts to match needs with supplies. Additionally, we set on the biweekly Indian Health Service Indian Country COVID-19 response call to stay abreast of federal efforts to support Native communities. For example, just last month, we participated in the White House Council on Native American Affairs infrastructure listening session with tribal leaders from across the country. And then in our priority work areas, we remain steadfast to continue to administer the GAP program, work on treatment as a state, which you all know as TAS request, and ensure that our program and regional offices are consulting with tribes during this pandemic. I know that for many tribes, GAP funding has been critical to environmental programs. In response to the challenges that have been caused by the pandemic, AIEO, in coordination with the offices of grants and debarment, as well as our general counsel, has eased some of the administrative burdens on GAP grant recipients. At AIEO's request, OGD approved a one-year exception to the four-year regulatory limitation on GAP, allowing for the flexibility of a fifth year of a standalone GAP award for tribes who are impacted by COVID-19. And for the first time, AIEO published GAP success stories on our website. The purpose of sharing these stories is to promote the achievements of tribal environmental programs and bring attention to the various environmental successes and challenges throughout Indian country. There are now 10 success stories which represent tribal programs from across the country, addressing environmental air, water, and land issues, including the Chalkitsik Village Recycling Program. I encourage you all to visit our EPA tribal website to look at the great work that is being done throughout Indian country. Next, I'd like to recognize the significant work that tribes have done on TAS over the past year in collaboration with EPA staff. EPA has approved 19 regulatory TAS applications over the past 3 years. This is a record, and it includes Clean Water Act water quality standards, TAS approvals for the Quinault Indian Nation and Confederated Tribes of the Colville Reservation. In 2020, we have already approved 9 regulatory TAS applications, which is a record for any calendar year, something to be very proud of. Specific to Region 10, we are aware of several TAS applications which are in the early stages of the submission process. And so we look forward to assisting these tribes in Region 10 throughout this process. Just last month, the Tribal Lands and Environment Forum held a virtual gathering where participants could view live and pre-recorded trainings, as well as participate in virtual multimedia network sessions. AIEO facilitated 2 sessions related to GAP and EPA tribal environmental plans. These and more than 50 other sessions, which is really tremendous, were recorded and can now be viewed online. For those of you who did not attend the 2020 TLEF, I highly encourage you to look through the various recorded media that is available on the ITEP website. I've done so myself, and believe me, there is a lot of really, really good content out there. And in just the past couple of weeks, the Office of Land and Emergency Management at the US EPA announced the creation of a new office, the Office of Mountains, Deserts, and Plains, OMDP, because we love acronyms in the federal government. OMDP office created to address cross-cutting issues that are unique to America's western states. This is vitally important. The OMDP will work with regions 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, as well as with the Office of Superfund Remediation and Technology Innovation, the Office of Emergency Management, the Federal Facilities Restoration Reuse Office, and other programs in headquarters to consolidate EPA's oversight responsibilities and support for hard rock mining cleanup sites that are west of the Mississippi River. This new office will serve as a central contact for other federal agencies, states, as well as tribes, with responsibility or that are impacted. These sites develop innovative technologies and adapted management approaches to address legacy pollution. Additionally, the office will support the efforts of conservation organizations to voluntarily undertake projects to improve conditions at abandoned mines that are also known as Good Samaritan projects. While the OMDP is still working to build its staffing and capacity, like I said, this is an announcement that took place only 2 to 3 weeks ago, so it's very new. The office is committed to working with tribes and critical other partners on mining cleanups, and hopes to begin reaching out and engaging with affected tribes in the very near future. In fact, I believe I will be on a call later this afternoon with the new acting director of that office, which I will be in close coordination with throughout the process as he begins to gear up his new office. Finally, as I mentioned, it's our 50th anniversary, and we couldn't do this without our tribal partnerships that have taken place over the last 50 years, the relationships we've developed out there in the field, the work that we've done, the work that you've done, and then traveling to Indian country, to being on the ground and being a part of what's taking place. Our tribal partners have truly enabled us to strengthen environmental and public health protection in Indian country, and thus carrying out our mission, not only at the US EPA, but within EPA's American Indian Environmental Office, to protect human health and the environment in Indian country. That is our core mission, our focus, and what we strive to live up to each and every single day. Throughout this collaboration with tribal governments, the EPA continues to seek to improve water and air quality, safely manage chemicals, and then provide guidance on waste management that's taking place in Indian country. So again, I'm deeply honored to be featured as a keynote this morning, and I want to thank you for inviting me to join you today and for your continued commitment, as I mentioned, to our shared goal of protecting human health and the environment in Indian country. Thank you all so much. God bless you. Stay safe during of fires and of COVID. Please take care.
Thank you so much, Scott. It was a pleasure to have you here calling in and making that address, and it's very important for us to hear those successes amongst so much that we have going on in this world that we're dealing with that are not so positive. So thank you for sharing those successes, and thank you for being here.